Good evening, everybody. It's Jordan from Don't Buy the Hype, here to discuss the post-game reaction, my post-game reaction to the 2012 SEC Championship game. Obviously, the game just ended just a few minutes ago. Final score, obviously, if you hadn't seen, was Alabama 32, Georgia 28. As advertised, at least I think as most Georgia fans thought it was going to be a game all the way. It was like a heavyweight title fight. You saw that being discussed. That was kind of thrown around a lot during the commentary of the game. Obviously, it had that feel to it. You had two great football teams trading blow for blow throughout the game. One could never pull away from the other, and then Georgia just happened to be, whether it be a few seconds or a few yards short there at the end, from winning and moving on to the national championship game. As far as the game was concerned, I thought the key to the game, obviously, and if you watched it, you probably saw it, was Alabama's ability to run the football in the Georgia defense. I thought Georgia did a really good job in some of the earlier games in the season, especially against good teams like Florida, being able to stop the run. Tonight, not so much. Obviously, you could tell. I mean, Georgia was gashed. To me, the turning point of the game was when it was 21-10 after the Ogletree return of the blocked field goal. Alabama's offensive line went to work. I'll tell you, against a great team, that's as dominating a performance against a really good defense as you're going to see by an offensive line. And, give credit to Alabama's offensive line. Everybody knew they were the best in the country. I think tonight they proved to the entire country that they are the best. That said, even though Georgia was giving up, tons of yards on the ground, the offense kept coming back, kept battling back, and just kept fighting. That's what the Georgia team did, and I thought they did a great job of that. All night long, kept bouncing back, absorbing the blows from Alabama. Alabama would take one back from Georgia. It was just an incredible football game. It's one you hate to lose. I'm sure that, Coach Saban, I haven't listened to the post-game conference because I think it's probably still going on. I'm sure he's going to give Georgia a lot of credit. I think he already did this week when he was talking about the loser of this game, not being able to be in the BCS. I think obviously, Georgia proved they're one of the top 3 or 4 or 5 teams in the country. I think, Florida is definitely one of the top 5 teams in the country. I think Alabama is as well. Texas A&M is playing like one of the top 5 teams in the country, even though they have a couple of losses. It just goes to show the power of the SEC, the dominance of the SEC. Obviously Notre Dame will have a chance, on January 7th to kind of end that discussion, or at least to put it to bed for a little bit. But that remains to be seen. Obviously, I think Alabama's going to win. I think they're the best team in the country, bar none. But we'll see. As far as where does Georgia go from here, I hope as a fan base, I hope as Dawg Nation, we don't try to play the blame game on this and try to, let's find whose fault is it that we lost the game. Is it Chris Conley? Certainly don't ever blame any of this on the kids. I thought they did an incredible job tonight of fighting through against a great team, overcame a lot of adversity, made plays of their own. I think the kids have a lot to be proud of. Don't try to blame the coaches. Listen, if you still think Mike Bobo needs to be fired, then obviously you don't get it. If it's 4th and 18, I hated to see us have to punt the ball back to Bama, but that was the right call, even with 2 timeouts for Georgia. We showed with a minute and 5 or 8 seconds, whatever was left, that we could still move the football down the field and give ourselves a chance to win the ball game. Offensively, I thought we had a great game. Defensively, I'd like to see us stop the run, but we just didn't do a good job of it. It remains to be seen now. Where do we go? Are we going, to the Capital One Bowl possibly, or the Cotton Bowl maybe? Even though they usually take a West team, or do we go to the Chick-fil-A Bowl? Maybe play Clemson in the Chick-fil-A and then have to turn around and play them again. And, the first game of next season, who knows? But the one thing that I think this did prove on a national scale is that Georgia is an elite program. I know there were a lot of doubters coming into the game. A lot of people didn't think Georgia would be able to hang with Alabama. Obviously, that was proven wrong. I think Georgia is one of the top, 4 or 5 teams in the country, as I said earlier. And I think we're, maybe hopefully tonight helps cement that status, in terms of the national media, which, they have a lot of control over what happens in college football if you hadn't figured it out. In terms of the national media, and again for our kids moving forward, hopefully now they believe, if they haven't already, they know now that we're one of the top teams in the country. Moving forward next year, we're going to lose a lot on defense. Have to come back and replace some guys. Got a great recruiting class coming in. Offensively, I mean, we should be able to score on anybody next year. I would think. We got the majority of our line coming back. Most of our skilled guys are coming back. Got Michael Bennett will come back from an ACL. We'll lose Tavares King, but I think we're going to have plenty of receivers, to step up. I think a lot of our offense will depend on whether or not Aaron Murray comes back next year. But all in all, a great showing for Georgia. I know there's no such thing as moral victories, and trust me, this hurts. This hurts me as a fan. I was on the floor on my knees banging, the carpet when Conley caught the ball. But I mean, every kid is taught to catch the football when it comes their way. I mean, that's just it was a reaction play. He just trusted his instincts, and again, we're just a few seconds and a few yards short. That was all. Again, great game by the Dogs tonight. Even better game by Alabama. I hope just to continue the SEC dominance that Alabama comes out and beats Notre Dame for the national championship. It'll be interesting to see. I think this will be Notre Dame's litmus test as a program to see kind of where they are, just as it was for Georgia tonight. Georgia had a chance to prove themselves against the best team in the country, and I thought they did that. And Notre Dame's now got one shot for a national championship. Obviously, I wish Georgia could have played Notre Dame. That would have been great. Always want to play for a national title. Still never played for one in my lifetime. Maybe we will at some point. Maybe we will here soon. You never know. It's so hard. Unless you're just completely dominant like Alabama is, it's so hard to be there every year. I mean, I think back to being a Georgia baseball fan back in '08 in Omaha. We lose to Fresno for the national championship. Thought we had it won after game one. Wondering if you ever get back, and here we sit going into the 2013 spring. Never even sniffed a College World Series since. I think the feeling around the football program is a lot different now. I think that we did take that step forward tonight, even though it wasn't the full step that we wanted. I think we did take the step forward, to legitimize ourselves as a national power here for at least the next few years. I think we're going to have a chance each year if we get the job done to play for a national championship, and that's exactly where you want to be. So again, Dogs lose 32-28, tough. We'll see tomorrow night where we go to a bowl. Again, as always, don't buy the hype. Don't buy the hype. That Georgia is not a nationally prominent team, that Georgia's not an elite team. I know we've had to listen to that crap all year, from this guy and that guy, his blowhards on ESPN. Georgia is an elite team. I think that was proven tonight, and we need to rise up as a Dog Nation and support these guys, these players, these coaches as we continue to move forward toward our goal, which is the national championship. Have a great evening. Don't buy the hype.